Elizabeth Warren, the Democratic senator from Massachusetts, has introduced her Accountable Capitalism Act, aimed at doing just that, holding capitalism accountable in the wake of the assassination of the UnitedHealth CEO.
What happens when you turn this into the billionaires run it all is they get the opportunity to squeeze every last penny.
Yeah.
And look, we'll say it over and over. Violence is never the answer. This guy gets a trial who's allegedly killed the CEO of UnitedHealth. But you can only push people so far. And then they start to take matters into their own hands.
Yeah.
The overall goal of the bill is to shift corporate profits away from shareholders and back towards the workers and the company's long-term investments, the way it used to be before C-suite executives prioritized the shareholders and their own pockets over all else.
And we employ just under 10,000,
Well,
and the
as
rest
I said,
are
I think
affiliated.
you have control over about 90,000.
I would say not control. They choose to work with us.
Okay. Great. Because UnitedHealth has bought up every link in the healthcare chain, you're now in a position to jack up prices, squeeze competitors, hide revenues, and pressure doctors to put profits ahead of patients. UnitedHealth is a monopoly on steroids. The opportunities for price gouging are everywhere.
On her website, Warren lays out her plan. And by the way, if you're wondering how she managed to put this whole thing together so quickly, she didn't. She had originally released this plan back when she was running for president. We could have had Liz, but now all we have are concepts of plans. Anyway, here is what she has to say. Wealthy shareholders of giant corporations have gobbled up trillions of dollars in surging profits. Giant corporations must focus more on their interests of their workers, not just their wealthy shareholders. And you know she's got some numbers. She explains that back in the 1980s, the Reagan years, companies began to focus more, seemingly exclusively, on maximizing shareholder value. She says, this shift is a root cause of many of America's economic problems. In the early 1980s, America's biggest companies dedicated less than half of their profits to shareholders. More recently, they have sent 93% of their earnings to shareholders. That means trillions of dollars that might have otherwise gone to workers or long-term investments have gone to shareholders instead. As a result of this shift, she says workers' wages have stagnated, foreign competitors have been able to thrive in our markets, and the rich in this country have gotten so much richer than they reasonably should have. According to her website, 84% of American-held shares are owned by the richest top 10% of families, while more than 50% of American households own no stock at all. So far, this is nothing new, at least probably not for any of you watching this particular video. Corporate greed is nothing new. The rich enriching themselves while unapologetically contributing to widespread wealth inequity is nothing new, and the long-term repercussions of that inequity is nothing new. No society can survive and thrive with a working class that isn't supported or happy. Pizza parties don't cut it. Return to office mandates don't cut it. Antitrust laws that go unenforced don't cut it, and out-of-touch delusional CEOs do not cut it. Warren's plan has four main components. The first, American corporations bringing in over $1 billion in annual revenue would be obligated to consider the interests of all corporate stakeholders, not just the shareholders. This is something that 33 states and the District of Columbia already have in place, and several large, successful, and reputable corporations already operate this way, including Patagonia. She also wants more democracy in these large corporations, pushing for at least 40% of company board members to be elected by workers. Other developed countries already have systems like this in place. She'd like to see restrictions put in place against directors and senior executives selling their shares, removing financial incentives for them to inflate the stock price and focus solely on maximizing shareholder value. And finally, she proposes that large corporations receive approval from 75% of shareholders and 75% of directors before engaging in political expenditures. The idea is that with an elected board, the workers will have more of a say, however indirectly, in how their company company spends its money on political donations, lobbying efforts, etc. Of course, this bill isn't likely to go anywhere, especially not with a Trumpian Congress incoming, but it's still nice to know that someone in Congress is looking out for workers. But I did mention delusional CEOs earlier, and Andrew Whitty, the CEO of United, the parent company of UnitedHealth, has gone viral for the video he released to his company, a video that was later leaked and released to the public. I spoke about this video in a different video, as did so many others, because the delusion was really unbelievable. Just unimaginable depths of head in the sand. He even said in his video that his employees should not pay attention to the absolute tsunami of negative press and legitimate criticism the healthcare industry and UnitedHealth have gotten in the wake of Brian Thompson's death. After the backlash, Whitty seemingly doubled down on his insistence that he and his company are not at fault for anything at all. Amidst the sea of complaints about his company, Whitty released an internal memo, a memo which again was leaked to the public, in which he claimed that supportive messages have been pouring in from UnitedHealth customers and patients. He shared 6 of those supportive messages in his memo, but they were all anonymous, so people are questioning whether or not they're even real. Also, one of the messages he chose to share acknowledged that the healthcare system is a broken one, but the person sending the message wasn't able to put together that the healthcare system is broken because of companies like United. And United stock has plunged since the killing of Brian Thompson, which is why Andrew Whitty is trying to now manage people's perceptions and feelings about the company rather than trying to enact any kind of meaningful change. I wouldn't be surprised if many of these CEOs are simply hoping to ride out this wave of negative press because the American people seem unable to sustain any kind of social movement for long enough to force the change that they would actually like to see. There have already been reports that they're beefing up their own personal security in response to Thompson's shooting, and one woman was jailed for making threatening statements towards Blue Cross Blue Shield after they denied her healthcare coverage. Also, this is a hell of a time for Enron to be making its big comeback, and its new CEO recently took a pie in the face in New York City. I guess they didn't pay those bodyguards enough. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.